Help support AMTV by becoming a patron, an AMTV staff member, and following us over on Twitter. Hi there guys, it's Adam Martin here, and welcome back to another instalment of The Now Review. And today we're going back in the past somewhat. Normally we take a look at new releases, but of course I haven't had a chance to review every single Now album or spin-off that has come out yet. So I thought this time we'd go back and take a look at an album that I've looked at the modern variation, but I haven't looked at the original. So let's take a look at the original release of Now That's What I Call R&B. So right off the bat, you can tell this is a 2-disc album. It's packaged in a standard jewel case, and I believe this came out around 2011. And just looking at the front, you've got like I think they're like jewels dotted around there. It's got a very like gold and silver design. R&B is a genre that is often associated, at least in the 21st century, with being a bit like, obviously being very cool, very classy. So I guess this makes sense. Not what I expected for an R&B cover, but hey, it's what we've got. As mentioned, this is in a standard jewel case, as you can see there. And looking on the back, only 2 discs. Oh, it looks like such a smaller track list compared to things we usually look at. But let's not waste any time. Let's take a look at what is on here. Okay, CD1, we're kicking off with Dappy and No Regrets. Dappy was the former one of the band members of N-Dubs, and I liked N-Dubs back in the day. No Regrets is #1 single. Would I call that R&B? It's a bit of a stretch in my opinion, but hey, it was probably the biggest thing ever at the time in 2011. I'd say it was #1. Rihanna with Cheers, Drink to That. Good track from a Loud album. Good track. Surprised they didn't go for maybe one of the bigger hits, but I guess Cheers, Drink to That is a good song. Emily Sandé with Heaven. Yeah, that feels more like an R&B song. I'm glad that's there. Bruno Mars with Marry You. This is taking me back, man. This is like all the big hits from like 2011, and it's just 2011, 2010. You've got Diddy, Dirty Money feat. Skylar Grey with Coming Home. I actually quite like that song from Diddy. Diddy stuff, or Puff Daddy, or however you know him as. I'm not usually a fan of all of his stuff, but I did quite like that track. You've got Maverick Sabre with Let Me Go, Aloe Black with I Need $1. Remember when that was the biggest thing ever at one point? You've got CeeLo Green and Wiz Khalifa with Bright Lights. Bigger City, again, really great track. I'm surprised they didn't go for Forget You. That was, or maybe that was the obvious choice. That's Bright Lights did well though, so you know that's here. You've got Natalia. What does it say? Natalia Mills or Kills feat. William. Again, sorry about my eyesight. With Free. You've got Tinchy Strider feat. Dappy. Dappy's back with Spaceship. Now again, R&B, rhythm and blues, is it? I'd argue against it personally. You've got Jeremiah feat. 50 Cent with Down on Me. You've got Tiny Temper feat. Ellie Goulding with Wonder Man. Again, is it R&B? Kind of, I guess. I'd argue it's more like pop/hip hop. Finishing off CD1, so you have Dev with In the Dark. I remember when Dev was a thing. I don't think I've actually heard In the Dark. Wiz Khalifa with Black and Yellow. Again, R&B? Sure, why not? Far East Movement feat. The Cataracts and Dev Like a G6. Okay, I'm gonna... That is not R&B. I don't think that is an R&B song, personally. Jessie J with Nobody's Perfect. Again, you could debatable. Big Sean feat. Chris Brown with My Last. Neo, 1 in a Million. See, Neo is more of an R&B, or makes more R&B music, I'd argue. Like, 1 in a Million was also a great track. Should have got way more airplay than it did. And you've got Nelly with Just a Dream. Also, I really like that song, to be fair. And Kelly Rowland feat. Lil Wayne and Motivation. So 20 tracks on CD1. Questionable choices in terms of R&B, but we'll talk about that a bit later. Okay, so moving on to CD2, we're kicking off with Wretch 3-2 feat. Josh Cumra and Don't Go. This got to #1. I actually quite like this song. It's a bit of a throwback, and it has more R&B flavorings with rap, so glad that's here. Cover Drive with Lick You Down. Oh, God, what a title. Nicole Scherzinger with Wet. Lick You Down and Wet. That couldn't have been a coincidence. Wet, it's a decent song. I think there's better R&B examples from Nicole's debut album, which is actually really underrated, I think. Jennifer Lopez feat. Lil Wayne with I'm Into You. Oh, yeah, I remember that. And Jason Derulo with Don't Wanna Go Home. Again, there were probably Jason Derulo songs I'd argue better fit into like the R&B category, but hey, it was a #1 hit in 2011, so it has to be on here. Rizzle Kicks with Down in the Trumpets. Really like that song, glad that's here. We've got more Jessie J with Who's Laughing Now. I do like Jessie J, don't get me wrong. It's just some of those songs, would I call them R&B? Debatably. Chris Brown feat. Benny Benassi with Beautiful People. Again, elements of like pop and hip hop with a slice of R&B, so maybe. Chasing Status feat. Tiny Temper with Hits. I love Chasing Status, don't get me wrong, but R&B, it's again questionable. Miami feat. Oh, sorry, not Miami. I can't read. Man feat. 50 Cent with Buzzin'. I remember this when it was everywhere. has more R&B flavorings than some of the other songs on here. Okay, so you've got Nicki Minaj with Super Bass. Again, slices of R&B, you could argue. LMFAO feat Lauren Bennett and, what does that say? Goon Rock with Party Rock Anthem. Is Party Rock Anthem a meme as it is? Is it R&B? Snoop Dogg versus David Guetta with Sweat. Good song. R&B? The Black Eyed Peas, Don't Stop the Party. The Black Eyed Peas, like, earlier stuff, you know, from, like, the late 90s, early 2000s, I'd argue that's more R&B than anything on that beginning album. You also have Kerry Hilson with Pretty Girl Rock. Not really familiar with that one. You've got Duchess with All the Boys. Don't really know that one either. N-Dubs, there they are, with Girls. Again, I'd argue not necessarily R&B, although maybe it has trimmings. Let's just lift this up so we can see the bottom 3 tracks there. So you've got True Tiger feat Professor Green and Maverick Sabre with In the Air. Again, debatable. Swedish House Mafia versus Tiny Temper with Miami to Ibiza. And Skepta with Amnesia. So that's another 20 tracks, which takes our total to 40 tracks across 2 discs. Now, I mean, we'll open it in a minute, but just on the surface, R&B, right, rhythm and blues, I associate that with music that feels very, like, soulful, has a lot of, like, story behind it, and some of these songs definitely are, but there's a lot of songs here that I personally wouldn't place as, like, an R&B song. They fall more into either, like, dance or just general pop, or pop rap, or pop dance. It feels like they needed to release a spin-off album and include songs from, like, the year of the time, or the past year, because there's no old songs on here, if you've noticed. It's all, like, 2010, 2011. So, we'll talk more about that in a minute, but let's open this up and see what's inside. Okay, so opening it up, disc 1. Nice gold, you know, gold with a silver reflective trim, to be expected, I think, based on the cover. Show how old this is. Become a Now Music fan. Find us on Facebook. Wow. Like, obviously, I know they still have a Facebook page, but back, you know, 2010, 2011, I'd say Facebook was the dominant social media platform, if you like. Twitter was still coming up, and Instagram didn't even exist. Just looking at CD2 for a second, it's got more of like an orange trim rather than gold. And they've also just included the front cover now blown up, so it's like super zoomed in. An odd choice, because before on other albums they've done it, you know, where they've removed the text, so you can almost get like a textless cover. But no, they've just zoomed in here, which is a fun choice, if you like. There is also a booklet here, but I believe it contains nothing more than just the production information. You know, it's not like they used to do the Numbered Now booklets where it had like chart information and things like that. So that's what's inside the album. Now, is it worth your time? Well, again, I'd take careful consideration of the track list to see if this falls into what you perceive to be R&B. Music is subjective, of course, and genres are just there to like help guide us. But again, there's a lot of tracks on here that I personally would not consider R&B, and therefore wouldn't invest if I was going for an R&B album. If you want a bunch of like big mainstream hits from like 2010, 2011, then yeah, forget the title. This is an album for you. But they did release an updated version of R&B, which from memory I think is a lot better. I did review that on the Now Review, so you should go and check that out to see my thoughts there. But yeah, this album feels very misguided. It seems like they had a title, they knew what they wanted to do, but they felt like they got a bit muddled in what they included. In terms of accessibility and where you can get it, obviously it's not sold brand new in shops anymore, so you look in secondhand places like eBay, Music Magpie, car boot sales, things like that. But generally, it doesn't go for very much. I picked this up off of Music Magpie for no more than £2, so very easy to find. And that's all for this installment of the Now Review. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please remember to leave a like on the video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments if you picked this album up back in the day. And do subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. I've been Adam Martin from AMTV. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thank you to our patrons for helping to support the show, and a special thank you to Macra, Hooks Media, Ben Freeman, Ethan Carberry-Holt, Bruce Danton, The Broken Kitsumanoid, Tobos Krotz, Polsky Liz, Globe of Reviews, Trev Hughes, and Kevin Aikman, our AMTV staff members.